And now we'll go to Diana in California. Are you there, Diana?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Yes. Sorry, I didn't hear the first part of the show. Anyway, my question is, I wonder if you could talk about SSRIs, the antidepressant, anti-anxieties, and people who've been on them, perhaps the withdrawal. The reason I ask is because I'm very close to a person who is on Paxil for 8 years. Literally took 4 times the dose that he should for 9 years. So anyway, he went cold turkey, got off it, and we went through 2 years of incredible, massive withdrawal. Mm-hmm. But in one of your talks, you talked about how it lodges in the long bones and that it may not ever be able to go away. And I think at one time you also mentioned that it alters the chemistry in the brain. So I was just wondering if you could elaborate on that.
Mm-hmm. Well, these drugs, these particular drugs are, again, more potent than the old types, the old Valiums and the Libriums and stuff that they used to throw out there at the public. Remember, too, that Big Pharma is to be part of the New World Order, and Huxley and all those guys talked about it as going to be that way. So this is all part of it. They started it back in the 60s, big time, with the tranquilizers. One time, 3/4 of the housewives in Britain were on them. They were just throwing them out like candy. But those particular drugs, the Valium-type drugs and Valium-related, those ones are the ones that will lodge in the long bones, in the marrow, basically. They can take up to 5 years to leach out of your system, and you can have withdrawals and panic attacks for 5 years as this stuff is leaching out of you. Now, the other ones they're talking about here, though, again, they've been well studied. I had a video on an inquiry up on my website in the archive section. If I can find it, I'll pull it up. A link to a video where they did a government inquiry and it was all people, adults who'd lost either a wife or a husband, or sometimes one guy lost his wife and the children because the wife turned guns on herself and the children. And people were doing crazy things because it can cause a sudden drop into dark depression very, very quickly. And obviously they're not rational during that time, and they go to do crazy things. Also, these drugs will interrelate with anything else, like any other drug or even alcohol, which is a drug. And
so it interrelates with alcohol.
Yes, all these drugs do. And what happens is your liver has to break up all chemicals and drugs which comes into your body so that it can be broken down and goes back into the stream, taken out by the kidneys for excretion. But things like, especially the Valium types and a lot of these new heavy antidepressants that will do a similar thing. See, they tend to switch on and off certain chemicals in your brain or actual even hormones itself as well. And that's what I was talking about last night, epigenomics. You can switch things on and off. Well, your liver will often take a particular drug, store it up for a while. When alcohol comes into the body, it will put that drug on hold. It will stop cutting it up and processing it. It'll go through the alcohol first, and as soon as the alcohol is dying out of your body, it then pumps all that drug out and right into your bloodstream, as though you'd taken an overdose, and then people go crazy. They can go into a rage. They can go into a rage, or a dark depression, or a suicide, or even a homicidal rage, and that kind of stuff came out at some of these meetings I've held.
Yeah, I would. If you could find that link, that would be great, because it'd be a great help to me.
I'll try and put it up at the end of the night. So it's in my archive section, but I'll see if I can find it.
Thank you. So, you were talking about alcohol. I'm just thinking of this person that I know, when he was taking the Paxil for so long, in his mind, I don't know if it's true or not, but he started drinking very, very heavily, and he felt that the alcohol somehow helped. Now, he can't explain how or why or whatever, but the Paxil is now gone. It's been done for 5 or 6 years now, but the alcohol remains. You're saying that the alcohol will go into the liver, get processed through, but when the alcohol's done, the Paxil or whatever chemical will come back up and reactivate in the body?
So, yeah, it's almost like you're just taking an overdose of it. and they can go crazy on it. And these things, as I say, all affect various chemicals in the brain, the serotonin levels, etc. Something people should not interfere with at all. I've noticed they've put the similar drugs into even painkillers now. Certain painkillers are using this as well. And all animals and even insects, for fight and flight, for normal fight and flight survivalism, they actually increase their serotonin levels for fight and flight to make you more normal and aware. This stuff is suppressing it, and so really you're not really fully all there at all times at all, or meeting responses, having normal responses to situations while you're on them. You know.
Yeah, he used to explain it as though he were looking through the world through like a thick plexiglass.
Yes, exactly.
Screen, and that it just didn't emotionally affect him. But my observations after the fact with the withdrawal is like it almost amplified and exaggerated all of the emotions that you and I would consider normal.
That's what it does. That's what it does. Yeah.
So, and there's something else I was thinking about too. His memories after going cold turkey, which everybody, don't do that. There's ways that you can do it safer, but this is just how he chose to. His memory at first would come back in these just explosive, tiny little clips. Mm-hmm. And as time has gone on, the memories are coming back more fuller, more complete, less emotional. And I got to wondering, obviously it affects memory. Do you have any data on that or information?
Yeah, they've done surveys on them because they looked at some of these particular drugs. When the military, and not too long ago, last year, they were talking about drugs coming on the market that'll help to eliminate painful memories. And they've even made movies about it. But some high blood pressure medication long term will do the same thing. But what it does, it gives them a flattened response. They can remember the event, but they have no emotion attached to the event. Yeah.
So coming off it, I guess, would do the opposite. It would over-exaggerate.
It might, but they might still not have any emotion to something that happened a year ago or 6 months ago. Or they'll have a distorted memory of what actually happened because the emotional response was flattened during the actual event itself. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I guess my last question would be and I've read 4 or 5 books on this, but I haven't really found that no one really has any conclusive answers as to, okay, after so much time or so much whatever, it's gone, it's done, it's finished, and you're back to normal. There's nothing on that. Is the person permanently damaged for life?
They don't have to be. It depends on the individual. I think some people can. You've got to remember too, the younger you are when they put you on it, the more immature you will be. When you're drugged as a teenager, and you'll find this too when they're using the amphetamine groups as well, the speed for children, they won't have normal responses and they won't meet events and crises in their life with normal emotions. Therefore, when they come off it and they've been on it for 5 years, they've really missed 5 years of maturation.
That's exactly what he says. He feels like 10 years is just gone.
Yeah, that's right.
Missing entirely. And it so frustrates him.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I think that's all I have. Thank you very much.
And thanks for calling. Yeah, I mean, it's an awful thing because I talked to so many youngsters who've been on various drugs. It's amazing what they've done to them and the damage it's done to them personally. And some have really come through it with enough character and determination and they've really helped themselves get on. Other ones will still have problems with memory lapses and various things, but this is the combination of pharma and government. You've got to understand this is really all one thing now. The Drug Society has been approved long ago, back as I say, as far as the 50s, and even before, with some of the authors that worked for the big foundations that worked with the United Nations and the League of Nations before it.